Hello, hello, hello. Hi, good evening, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. I hope that you're having a really productive day because let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I am so energetic and I'm so passionate and excited to go and share with you on parenting and stress while working and while working from home. Yep, so without further ado, just a little bit of introduction of myself, right? My name is Teacher Kean and I am a parenting trainer hailing from Malaysia, hot and sunny Malaysia. Now, not too much introduction about me because we have only very limited time and have so much things that I want to go and share with you guys. Yeah, all right. So now, I'll try to go and make this as interactive as possible, even though I know that the current arrangements may not necessarily be very conducive to that. But essentially, ladies and gentlemen, these are the key results you will take away from this session. Number one, okay, I'm going to teach you how to go and understand the basics of self-love and how to regulate our emotions. Because when we're managing stress, okay, there's no way we can go and control something external from ourselves, right? We can't change external circumstances and we can't really have a long-term solution of changing other people to go and manage our own stress there, okay? Ultimately, only one person is responsible for our own happiness and for our stress levels, and that is, yes, you've guessed it correctly, it is ourselves. So definitely it's very hard to go and talk to you about parenting and about managing stress without talking about self-love. And coincidentally, self-love is definitely something which I love, I'm very passionate to talk about. Now, next, after that, we'll be looking at some simple fundamentals of creating boundaries for ourselves and for our loved ones, right? So that you can go and have some healthy communication as well with them to go and communicate your needs to them. All right, so now I'm going to focus a lot on the basics of self-love today. So this is definitely going to be a very exciting, very loving, very nurturing session, yeah? All right, so now, ladies and gentlemen, over here, I'm going to start by telling you the story of Matt Killingsworth. Now, Dr. Killingsworth is a PhD holder in psychology at the Harvard University. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, all right, Dr. Killingsworth has changed my life entirely. He has changed his research, has changed the way I approach my education and my entire pedagogy, my entire training approach. Yeah, and over here, I'm very excited to go and share with you his story. So now let's take a look at this. Now, Dr. Matt Killingsworth is a PhD holder from the Harvard University. And in 2013, he came up with this hypothesis, yeah, ladies and gentlemen. He had a hypothesis to go and say, okay, there are certain daily activities which make us very sad and certain daily activities make us very happy. So he decided to go and test his hypothesis by creating an app. And he got 15,000 people, 15,000 people from 80 different countries of different age groups, of different income levels, of different genders, of different cultures, right? And he asked them 3 questions. In total, he got 600,000 responses. So we can say that this is pretty statistically accurate, okay, guys? All right, and he basically asked 3 questions to all of the participants. Now, the first question in the app would be this one, okay, at random times of the day. So let's say I'm from China and I downloaded this app, perhaps at 5 o'clock in the afternoon when I am working, for example, I might get a random signal from this app. And this app will go and ask me, how do you feel, right? How do you feel? And I'm supposed to go and vote from a scale of 0 to 10, how do I feel? All right, so now if I was absolutely miserable, I would go and slide it to 0. And if I was really happy, I would go and slide it all the way to number 10 over here. So if I'm just feeling meh, you know, just so, then I would go and vote for a 5. All right, so now at random times of the day, times of the day, people from all around the world would go and get this question. How do you feel? All right, 0 being absolutely miserable, 10 being absolutely ecstatic like I am now. All right, so now after that question, after you slided that scale, you will get a second question. And the second question is, what activity are you doing right now when you receive that message? So now what is Dr. Killingsworth trying to go and establish over here? He is trying to go and see whether there are certain daily activities which cause us to be really sad and whether there are certain daily activities which cause us to be really happy. All right. So now over here, let's do this little activity. Yeah. Okay. Why don't you guys go and tell me what are the 2 daily activities you think which make us the saddest, and what daily activities do you think make us the happiest? So now, out of all the thousands of participants I have trained at this point, okay, now many of my participants say, hey, you know, paying bills makes me really sad, or working, or getting stuck in traffic jams, or not having my morning coffee. Those are all talking points, yeah? All right, so you have a think about it as well. All right, now, a lot of participants say that when they chat with their friends, when they're eating good food, when they're spending time with their family, these are the happiest times of their day. All right, so now just a bit of caution over here. When you're thinking of the happiest and saddest daily activities, think of things which we generally do quite frequently, okay? Don't go and put a breakup as your saddest daily activity, because I really hope that you're not going through a breakup every day. My goodness, that would be devastating. And if don't go and put something like getting a promotion or getting a bonus as your happiest daily activity. Yeah, we generally don't get those every day. But if you are, then kudos to you, more power to you. I'm very happy for you. Okay, so now what are some of the saddest and happiest daily activities do you think we do on a daily or near daily basis? All right. Okay, I'm going to go and give you guys 1 minute before I go and tell you the answer. What did Dr. Killingsworth realize in his research, right? After talking to 15,000 people from all around the world. All right. So if you're tuning in on the live stream, yeah, go ahead and go and type in the comments. And I'm sure that our lovely host here will go and direct the comments to me as well. All right, so now what do you guys think is the saddest daily activity? Generally, what makes people miserable? All right, okay. All right, so now at the end of the day, all right, Dr. Killingsworth was very surprised at the results. And over here, thank you, Mina. Okay, thank you Sabrina, and thank you Meenakshi. All right. So some of them have said, okay, some of the participants have said, okay, not able to go out. And I'm going to use red color over here, okay, because it's sad, okay, stuck at home, not being able to go out. And yep, over here, Sabrina has said her happiest is exercise or eating chocolate. Very good. Hey, chocolate gives us a lot of very happy chemicals. Yeah, I'll explore more on that later. Okay, so now over here, okay, Xin Feng is saying that sad, okay, waking up too late. And happiest is when you go and help someone. Very good. Now, all these are great answers, yeah, okay? But to Dr. Killingsworth and his team's surprise, right, these were not the daily activities which make people the saddest or the happiest. What his team discovered, and ladies and gentlemen, I want you to go and really listen very closely over here, because this is probably going to change your life for the better, yeah? Your life will never be the same after you hear this. Now, the number one saddest daily activity from all the respondents' responses was actually this, okay? Brushing our teeth. The second most saddest daily activity we generally do is taking a bath, taking a shower. And so now when Dr. Killingsworth and his team got these results, they were shocked. They thought that perhaps there was something wrong in their app, right? So they decided to go and ask a third question. Remember in the start of this session, I said that he asked 3 questions. So he decided to go and add 1 more question. And after testing a few questions, he settled with this one, right? He asked the participants, hey, when you are brushing your teeth, when you are taking your bath, are you thinking about something else besides brushing your teeth and taking your bath? And as it turns out, yes, people are really miserable when they are mind wandering. So now over here, let's go and take 1 second, okay, to go and make the distinction between wandering and wondering. Okay, there's a huge difference between wandering and wondering. Wondering is you're thinking about something, you're using a brain to go and solve a problem or to be creative. Now, wondering means you have 0 control over your mind, you have 0 control over your thoughts, and you're thinking all sorts of rubbish which is not healthy or not helpful for you. So now, essentially, what Dr. Killingsworth has established over here is that people are really unhappy when they let their minds wander and when their minds are undisciplined. As long as you're thinking about something which is not what you're supposed to be doing at the moment, all right, then we tend to be very unhappy. So now, okay, come, let's do this, okay? Our body has 2 modes, essentially. Our body has 2 modes, yeah, okay? And this is science. This goes back to biology, yeah? And I'm drawing this from my specialty as an educator. Now, the body has 2 modes. The first one is called survival mode. The second one is called an elevated state, yeah? Okay, so now what is this survival mode? Survival mode is when we are under stress or guilt, or when we're having a lot of regret, anger, resentment. And this is a legacy of our ancestors when they were being chased by saber-toothed tigers and when they were being chased by woolly mammoths. Okay, ancestors needed this flight or fight response because they were constantly chased by saber-toothed tigers, etc. Right? Okay, now, however, we are currently not in this environment. Currently, we are generally much safer than our ancestors, right? Our prehistoric ancestors. And that's why we should really try to go and get ourselves into this elevated state over here, which is where we are constantly in a state of love, hope, joy, and bliss, very much like myself and Andrea over here, right? We're constantly very happy people. It is because we generally know how to get ourselves into an elevated state. Now, the problem is, as Dr. Killingsworth and many neuroscientists all around the world have discovered, is that most people are stuck in a survival state. And the worst thing is, all these people are so used to this state that they are not even aware that they're under stress or guilt or resentment. Essentially, once they wake up in the morning, they immediately start thinking about their problems and their body immediately starts producing cortisol. So over here, this is the first important chemical I want to talk to you guys about, and it is this chemical called cortisol. When our bodies are stressed, we produce something called cortisol, and cortisol prohibits us from feeling love, hope, joy, bliss, right? Because cortisol wants everything to stay the same. Okay, it wants the body to be stagnant because change is dangerous, right? So now, if the body wants everything to stay the same, can we be creative? Can we produce things? Can we, go out and innovate? Can we collaborate with other people? We can't. We can't. So that's the problem, yeah. Okay, now when we're all stressed, we produce a lot of cortisol. It's not that great for us in terms of health, yeah, because people who produce a lot of cortisol tend to be sicker all the time. They have a weaker immune system, and then they get a lot of psychosomatic diseases, yeah. All right, I'll talk more about that in a bit. All right, so now over here, Dr. Killingsworth has established that mind wandering makes us really unhappy and puts us into a very cortisol-like state, yeah, into a very survival state. And he has told us, okay, the best way to become happy is really to go and focus on what you're doing and to savor or to enjoy the moment, yeah? Right? We always hear people say, you need to live in the present, you need to enjoy the moment. And I think that this is absolutely true. Now, humans have this very, very unique ability to plan for the future or to recall things from the past to help them make better decisions. But the problem is when we're thinking about things in the future or when we're recalling things from the past, it doesn't end there if you are not mentally disciplined. If you're not mentally disciplined, you will start to go and think. All right, your mind will start to wander, and I'll give you a great example over here. Yeah, okay. So now, let's say I'm supposed to be going and leading this workshop over here. Let's say I'm supposed to be teaching you guys on self-love and how to manage stress as a parent while working from home. But if I'm not focused, if I start to go and dream about the last time, the holiday I went to with my ex to Korea a few years ago, all right, it doesn't stop there because I will start to go and think, wow, I will start to go and compare it to the present. I will start to go and say that, wow, I loved Korea so much. It is such a shame that I can't go out now. Yeah, because many countries are under lockdown. But it doesn't even end there. If my brain is undisciplined, very, very soon you'll start to go and think about things like, wow, I wonder who is my ex with now? Is he a better guy than me? And very soon I'll be thinking very, very damaging thoughts like, am I so unlovable? Is there something wrong with me? And that's how our mind starts to wander if we don't discipline it. If we don't control it very well, that's what happens. It's the same with thinking about things in the future. Okay. Now, if you think about bad things which might happen in the future, we call that worry. But even if you're dreaming about happy futures, it is often very unhealthy. Why? Because people often think in these terms. They often say, if only I had 1 million ringgit or $1 million inside my bank account, I can finally be happy. Or they like to go and think about things in these terms. Wow, if only I had a girlfriend, I can finally be happy. So now what is this? This is called putting a condition to your present happiness, right? You are putting a condition to your happiness when you should just focus on what you're doing right now and enjoy yourself to the maximum. Live in the moment, my friends. All right. So now over here, that is really a key, right? We have to go and enjoy the moment. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, in my role as a public speaker and trainer, I am extremely blessed because I get to meet people like Andrea. I get to meet people like all of you. And in my work, I have debated with so many gurus, NLP coaches, philosophers, feng shui masters, ustazas, Islamic scholars, priests, and psychologists, and they fundamentally disagree on almost everything. But there is one thing which they can all agree on. Right? What is this one thing which they can all agree on? Does anyone want to venture a guess? What is one thing which everyone can definitely agree on? Regardless of whatever philosophy you believe in, regardless of whatever discipline you are from, what do you think is the one thing everyone can agree on? Well, learned people, yeah, okay, people who have devoted time to go and think about it. That we need reason to be happy? No, that's absolutely not it. Okay, Sabrina is a bit closer though. All right, no, Meenakshi, all right, that you don't need a reason to be happy. You shouldn't go and give yourself a limitation to your happiness. All right. Okay, so now one thing they can all agree on is that no one can make us happy except ourselves. Or in other words, okay, I think, therefore I am. If you think that you're happy, then guess what? You are happy. If you think that you're miserable, then guess what? You are immediately miserable. No one is responsible for the way we feel except for ourselves. And the sooner we understand this, the happier and more productive and richer we can be. All right, the more empowered we can be, the more richer we can be, the more abundant we can be. But first, we need to go and swallow the bitter pill that no one is responsible for our emotions except for ourselves. Right? So stop blaming other people, stop blaming your kids, stop blaming your spouse, stop blaming everyone else, okay? Only you can make yourself happy. And over here today, I'm going to teach you guys how to breathe, okay? Feel some love and feel some appreciation for this journey we call life, okay? And definitely when talking about parenting stress, managing stress, parenting, it is very irresponsible for me if I do not teach you guys about self-love. So now, the key to all of this is self-love. And how do we love ourselves? Well, Dr. Matt Killingsworth has already given us one clue, right? One of the very, very first steps is to go and build mental discipline. And this is why, okay, all those people which I spoke to, all right, they can all agree on another thing, right? Not just we are responsible for the way we feel, since we already know from science that our thoughts become our emotions. All right, of course, it is not so simple. Sometimes our chemicals also affect our emotions. Like, for example, for guys, all right, we have midlife crises, women have menopause, and you have to go and deal with your monthly cycles. Of course, some chemicals will influence your emotions, but by and large, our thoughts become our emotions. So if you want to become happier, you need to go and think the correct thoughts, or you need to go and stop yourself from mind wandering. Okay, so this is a really, really important step towards loving yourself, towards reducing your stress, controlling your thoughts. And this is why almost every major religion in the world, or almost every major school of thought in the world will teach you to go and do yoga or meditation, or if you are a Muslim, it's very easy to explain to you, berzikir. All right, so now, khusyuk, all right, there is this Islamic principle called khusyuk, which essentially means, okay, paying attention while you're praying. So now, why does almost every major civilization in the world teach you to go and control your thoughts? Yes, okay, yoga. Hey, if you've done yoga before, you will know that yoga is really, really difficult, right? And it's really, really hard for you to go and start thinking about other things when you're doing yoga. It's the same for meditation. Meditation is teaching you how to quiet down your monkey mind so that your monkey mind doesn't go and think of things which are unhelpful for you. It's the same for prayer, yeah. If you're Muslim, this is very, really easy to explain to you, right? You're supposed to go and pray 5 times a day. And during those prayers, you're supposed to give your gratitude towards your Lord, towards the universe. But at the same time, you're supposed to go and build a lot of mental discipline. All right. All right. So now that we know that, controlling our thoughts is a cornerstone of happiness and managing stress. All right. Let me go and share with you a little story about how I learned to meditate. No, I didn't go and sit cross-legged for hours a day and to go and chant om, om, om. No, I didn't do that. for me, what happened was I went through quite a nasty divorce, right? I went through a nasty divorce. And until today, I'm a single dad with my 2 kids. But during that time, it was a very devastating period for me. Now, fortunately, Fortunately, I had 2 great gym buddies, and I will forever be grateful to the 3 of them, not 2, 3 of them until today. I had great friends called Ivan, Eric, and Jen Hong. And I was lifting weights in the gym during this very difficult period. So now, during this very difficult period, when I was lifting weights, and if they saw that I was mind wandering, if they saw my eyes drift, if they saw me start to dream, then they will go and say, okay, Teacher Kean is dreaming, he's mind wandering, he's thinking about his ex. Immediately add 5 kgs. So now when you add 5 kgs to the weights, you are immediately back in control of your thoughts again. Right? It is impossible for you to go and think of anything when you are lifting so heavy weights. And so that's how I learned to concentrate. That's how I learned to meditate. That's how I learned to focus, by lifting very heavy weights. Now, another example of an exercise which is very good for you to go and build some mental discipline is archery, because you must be absolutely focused when you are doing archery. So now, starting today, please go and choose a hobby which can get you entirely into the flow. All right. If you like watching movies, please treat yourself kindly. Go and choose movies where you can absolutely be 100% absorbed in it. Right? Don't go and watch movies which are very slow paced and get you started thinking about things which are unhelpful for you. All right. So that's the first step. Get a hobby or start meditating. Very important, right? If you want to go and manage your stress. Okay, so now over here, since I spoke about meditation, okay, so now the truth is there's a lot of resentment, anger, stress, anxiety trapped in our bodies. And where it is trapped in different places. For example, for me, most of my negative emotions, if I close my eyes and I feel it, all right, if I really think about it, I realize that a lot of my emotions is trapped in my chest or in my gut. For example, if I'm feeling anxious about the results of something, all right, if I'm waiting for feedback, I'll go and feel it in my gut, or I'll feel a heavy weight on my chest. All right, so now one of the first steps for you to go and feel better immediately is to go and identify where are all of your negative emotions trapped. And let me tell you, okay, when I've trained so many people at this point, it is amazing, all right, because some people say that their negative emotions are trapped in their brain area, in their head area. Some people feel it in their neck. A lot of people feel it in their shoulders. Some people feel it in their heart, all right, above their chest. So different people are different. Some people feel it in their back, actually, which is amazing to me because I don't feel any pain or stress in my back. But the fact is, okay, different people have different parts of the body which they store their negative emotions. Now, the trick is, okay, to go and love yourself. And the first step towards loving yourself is mental discipline. But there are more things we can do. Why? Because when we start to fall in love with yourself, when you practice the skill of loving yourself, and I purposely use the word skill because I believe that self-love is a skill. It can be practiced. The more you practice it, the more easier it is for you to love yourself. So now here's a great way for you to go and love yourself and to feel better immediately. And that is by leveraging on our very good friend here, oxytocin. Now, oxytocin is one of the 4 great chemicals our body produces to go and make ourselves feel happy, right? The first one is oxytocin, and oxytocin is great. Why? Because it signals the body to produce nitric oxide, and when the body senses nitric oxide, it then produces this EDRF, which is endothermia derived relaxation factor. And basically, when you get all 3 of this, you feel amazing. Your heart swells, your arteries literally expand, and you feel like your heart is so full of love, hope, and joy and bliss all the time. All right. So now, this is why we really need to start practicing self-love so that you can go and produce oxytocin on demand. Now, when I say on demand, okay, this is quite interesting, okay, because people who have practiced self-love, we are able to go and produce oxytocin on demand. All right, I can make my heart feel amazing at any time I want. But generally speaking, how do people get this? People generally get it by hugging loved ones, okay, physical touch. Or like, for example, this picture over here, hugging a pet, hugging a loved pet. And there's one more way which some people can go and get oxytocin. If there are any mothers in the room, I can go and see Liz is here. All right. Now, a lot of mothers have reported to me that they felt amazing during their pregnancy. It was probably the happiest time in their lives during their pregnancy. Now, why is this? It is because when you are pregnant, your body, your brain, and your heart produces a whole bunch of oxytocin. Okay, no, I'm not telling you to go and get pregnant on purpose to go and get that oxytocin. Yeah, okay, there are other ways, and I would love to go and explore some of them with you. But essentially, yes, okay, get producing some oxytocin. Hug a loved one when you're stressed, or go and shake someone's hand, or hug the pet. Or if you're like me, okay, and I really need that oxytocin immediately, and I'm really having a very bad time, for example, I imagine myself hugging a lot of money. I imagine myself hugging a lot of money, and I go and say, wow, this is the best feeling in the world. You know, I love money and money loves me. And immediately I can feel my heart swell and I feel amazing. Now, why is oxytocin so important over here? It is because, okay, if you are happy with yourself, if you're producing oxytocin, right, then you're constantly at ease. And of course, over here, right, at ease, we're very, very special. Jumping into a pool of Bitcoins. Yes, wow, that's so happy. Yeah, okay. All right, so now over here now, before I address what Xin Feng has said in the chat, and that is really, really interesting. Yeah, okay. So now over here, there's this word called at ease. And I want to go and explain to you guys a little dichotomy over here. Now, what's the opposite of at ease? The opposite of at ease is something called disease. Okay. Now, of course, there are many other opposites. For example, challenging, okay, stress, okay, very hard, very difficult, right? But yeah, disease. So if your body is not at ease, then it is in a disease state. That's where you get a lot of psychosomatic diseases. You know, hypertension, right? Heart disease, cancer. It is because you're producing so much cortisol that your body is regenerating at abnormal rates. All right, so now let's take a look at what Xin Feng said over here. Too much of self-love shuts other people off. Self-centeredness may make oneself happy, but can be too uncompromising. Okay, so now Xin Feng, over here, I would like to make the distinction now, okay, between self-love and narcissism, yeah, okay? All right, so now, self-love versus, and I'm going to use red over here because I do believe that they're very different. And I think that it bears talking about. So now, Xin Feng, if you don't mind, I'm going to go and put your comment up on the screen here because this is very important, yeah, for the people who are watching us through the stream to go and understand this as well. All right, so now, yes, okay, a lot of people think that if we love ourselves too much, it is equivalent to selfishness or self-centeredness. Yeah, it might make yourself happy, but it can be too uncompromising. I know what you're trying to say. Now, I would like to go and tell you that there's a huge difference between self-love and narcissism. Now, narcissism is this, right? When you put yourself at the center of the world and when you want other people, and you want others to change according, and you want others to change, okay, for you. Or you try to change external circumstances to suit yourself. All right, so now this is what we call a bit of narcissism. Now, self-love is not quite that, yeah, okay? Now, self-love is feeling good about yourself so that, okay, feeling good about yourself or putting yourself in an elevated state, yeah, okay? So that you feel compelled, almost compelled. You feel almost like you're being forced by a very strong force, you know, so that you feel compelled to share that happiness and wealth with as many people as possible. All right, so now these would be people like, for example, our host here, Andrea. Andrea is generally a very happy person, but for her, it's not enough. She wants all of us to be happy as well, and that's why she hosted something so great like the GES, right, the Global Empowerment Summit, right? Someone like me, I think that I have gone past narcissism already, and I'm in a state where I really want to go and share what I know with all of you because I'm happy all the time, and I want you guys to go and feel that as well. So, yep, there is a bit of a difference. And over here, KK3 has said narcissism is Emperor Nero, self-love is Mother Teresa. Now, I'm not to go. This is not to say that I never act without my own personal agenda or without my own motives. Of course, we do. All right. Of course, we have our own needs as well. But okay, generally speaking, most of the things we do are win-win situations for most people. We do things to make ourselves feel good, and we hope that we can go and make people feel good as well, right? We believe in enriching ourselves and other people at the same time. So that's a bit of difference over here. All right, thank you very much for that very, very important point. I think that is quite important to go and address that. But I can definitely see where you're coming from, yeah? All right, so now anyway, coming back here, right? Let me clear the screen. All right, the amygdala. What is this amygdala? The amygdala is the core of our neural systems for producing stress, essentially. All right, this is the part of the brain which is believed to go and create stressful situations for us. Now, the good news is this, yeah, okay? As long as you have a bit of oxytocin into your amygdala, right, you are incapable of feeling any stress at all, okay? And you will be in a state of elevation, and you will always go and think, why would I ever want to lose this feeling? Why do I want to be bothered by my child? What my child say? My child is screaming. Yeah, I can go down to his level and I can be upset, and then all of us will be upset. Or I can go and keep myself in this state of love, of joy, and guide him properly. If he needs to be punished, I'll punish him from a place of love. If he needs to be reinforced, then I'm going to reward him from a place of love. But whatever it is, okay, I am going to influence my child from this state. I'm not going to lower myself to a state of anger, resentment, stress, guilt to go and deal with things in my life. I'm going to do everything from a state of love, right? And you will realize that if you love yourself so much, people can't really bother you anymore, honestly, yeah? All right, so now it is really, really important for us to go and learn meditation as the first step. Number two, to go and learn how to go and visualize certain triggers so that you can start producing a lot of oxytocin in your body. All right, for me, hugging a lot of money, okay, imagining myself hugging a lot of money works every time. Of course, if you have a partner, go ahead and get a hug, all right? Hold them for a very long time, and while you're holding them, really let the oxytocin flow. Right? Keep yourself in that very happy and blissful state. Yeah. Okay, now if you practice this enough, very soon you realize that you don't need your partner to be there, and you can go and produce the happy state by yourself already. Okay, so now there are a lot of other ways, of course. Like for example, I'm a huge fan of appreciation. Now, I think that there's a difference between appreciation and gratitude. We are not going to go into that very deeply today, but appreciation. All right. So now, how do I learn appreciation? I started by journaling everything I appreciate down. But over time, when I practice this enough, I start to appreciate every single thing in my life. For example, when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I see is my phone. And immediately I'm in a state of appreciation because I'm saying that, oh my goodness, my phone didn't give up on me. I'm working so hard every day, and my poor phone is on 24 hours and he's still alive to go and get me through another day. When I turn on the computer, when I turn on Zoom, I'm so appreciative because my poor computer is running as fast as me, right? But he is not giving up on me. My car started today, My kids are so loving today. My mother made me breakfast today. Andrea is smiling so radiantly in the chat today. Life is really, really good. And we really need to go and take the time to go and appreciate all this, right? Because when you wear that coat of appreciation, you are naturally really attractive to other people and to your children as well, right? Generally speaking, my children come to me and talk to me about everything because I appreciate them very much as well, all right? And honestly speaking, my kids are angels, and I think a large part of it is because I appreciate them. Andrea. Yep. In a state of self-love, we correct with tough love, whereas on the other end, we correct with blame and victimizing. You are quite correct, KK. All right. Okay. So now let me expand a bit on this. Yeah. And this one is quite interesting. All right. So now in the especially this second part over here, this is actually very true, and I would like all of you to go and consider this. Okay. We correct with blame and victimizing when we are in a stressful state. Yes, okay, often when we are stressed, the things we say to our children, for example, this is a big offender, okay? I am so disappointed with you. So now, I am so disappointed with you adds zero value, has zero educational value. But why do we say it to our children? What's the point of telling our children that we are disappointed with them? It is because we also have emotions and we want to go and share it. We want to outsource our negative emotions to someone. Right? We want to outsource our negative emotions to someone, and that's why we go and tell people, I'm so disappointed with you. Right? We are being affected by what they did. We want them to act in a certain way so that we can love them easier, essentially. All right, so now, here's the thing though, okay? Here's the very dangerous thing, and I think that this is worth investing a few minutes over here. Now, guys, when we say, I'm so disappointed with you to our children, what is the message that we're sending them? We are sending them a very dangerous message, okay, ladies and gentlemen. We are saying, okay, you need to follow the rules or, get good results in the test or, listen to what I say so that I can be happy. And this is why children start to do things to get the approval of their parents. Yeah. All right. If you know someone, okay, maybe one of your friends who's constantly doing things to try to go and impress their parents, right? It is because their parents use a lot of words like this. I'm very disappointed with you. Right? So they're constantly trying to go and seek the approval of their boss, of their friends, of their parents, or of their peers. That's why they tend to go and spend a lot of money on very superficial things to go and show off, yeah? Yeah, correct. Absolutely, KK. That's right. Too much for self-frustration. You're not good enough. You're not worthy of my love. So be very, very careful. Here's the thing though, okay? If you're very happy with yourself, all right? If you're generally very stable, and you know what you're doing, you have a lot of mental discipline and emotional control, you're probably not going to say this to your child because you don't feel like you need to go and share how you feel with your child. You're probably just going to straight away go and tell him, okay, hey, you need to get good results so that, okay, you can achieve your dreams of being a YouTuber. You will give him the reason why he needs to get good results. All right, you'll go and say, hey, you need to go and listen to me because playing with scissors is really dangerous. If you get cut, you're going to get really, really hurt, and that's going to be very painful. You're not going to say things like, I'm so disappointed with you. All right, this is why it's absolutely important for you as a parent to be stable, to be happy, to be loving, right, before you educate your children. Yeah, okay. All right, great. So now let's move on, okay, because we have a lot of things to talk about today. All right, so now really, we have to go and slow down. Why is it good for us to slow down? Because then we can ask ourselves this question: is this good for me? A lot of times, before we get to an argument or before we yell at our children, we do not have any reaction time. When a bad thing happens, straight away we react. But really, when you start to meditate, when you start to slow down, you will respond instead of reacting. You will respond instead of reacting. And this is going to change your life if you can slow down your response time just by 1 or 2 seconds, but just by 2 or 3 seconds, yeah? And finally, okay, the last thing I want to go and tell you guys is self-talk, right? Self-talk is really important in self-love. Every day, okay, people are going to talk to you mean. People, if you ask people for their honest opinion, right, a lot of people are going to say mean things to you. So if people are going to say mean things to you already, you can't afford to say mean things to yourself. You have to be kind to yourself. And what do I mean by being kind to yourself? Over here, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you 3 gifts there, okay? 3 gifts, which I hope that you can go and bring with you for life. The first one is this, okay? Show yourself proof of how far you have come. Now, when you encounter a setback, it is very easy for us to go and say, oh my goodness, you made such a fool of yourself. Or, oh my goodness, what will Andrea think of you now? You embarrass yourself in front of her. All right. Or, how will people, so many people will laugh at you because you said something silly or you failed over here. You didn't achieve the result you wanted to get. Now, that is not helpful. Pick yourself up and show yourself proof of how far you have come. And over here, I'll give you some words which you can use for yourself and for your loved ones as well. Okay? Now, when your loved one is very, very devastated, it is no use to go and say that you will do better next time. That is not meaningful. What is meaningful? What can touch them? Something like this, okay? Think back to 1 year ago. 1 year ago, you were directionless and clueless. Look at how far you have come now. Wow, this is very powerful. All right. Then you can go on to say, can you imagine if you grew so much in 1 year? Today you have failed, and that's fine because in 1 year from now, in October 2022, can you imagine how powerful you will be, how wise you will be, how knowledgeable you will be? 1 year ago, you didn't know anything. All right. You were talking out from nonsense, right? And look at yourself now. And can you imagine how much more progressed you will be 1 year from now? Okay. So now over here, yes, okay. Some KK is saying, find out what is the love language of your friends and loved ones. Absolutely. So everyone has a different love language. Yes, it is best to go and communicate through their preferred love language. Yeah. Now, for those of you who do not know what we're talking about, there are 5 love languages. Yeah. And I think that Jeffro would be a good person to go and tell you guys about it. But essentially, okay, Jeffro Ong, I think he's an expert on this. Now, physical touch is one of them. Some people like to be touched. Some people like to be hugged. Okay, another one is acts of service. Another one is quality time. Then we also have the gifts. And finally, what is the last one? Verbal praise, I think. Okay, words of affirmation. Okay, so now some people like you to go and praise them. Some people like presents. Some people like quality time. If you were to go and give me a present, I'll be like, oh my goodness, this is a waste of your money as well as my time. All right, please don't buy things from me in the future. I'm just... All right, hey, Liz, I'm going to mute you if you don't mind. All right, so now generally speaking, I don't really appreciate gifts, but different people are different. So you need to go and understand what they like and give that to them, yeah? All right, I laugh with them. Thank you very much, Shin Feng. Okay, so now next, okay, what else can you go and say to yourself when you encounter a setback? Always remember that life is a series of lessons. We are here to learn something. And if you have encountered a setback, if you're blaming other people, if you refuse to go and take responsibility for the numbers and the results in your life, guess what? The universe or God or your spirit or your inner being or your subconscious mind, whatever you believe in, all right? They will purposely arrange for the same things to happen to you again until you finally embrace the lesson and to move on. So if you're stuck in a point of life where you seem to be running around in circles, and the same bad things keep happening to you, right? It is probably because you are reluctant to learn a lesson over here. So when bad things happen to you, ask yourself this, okay? Not why is this happening to me? Stop asking, why is this happening to me? Instead, start asking, all right, why is this happening for me? Why is this happening for me? Okay, so now, KK, you're absolutely right. If we don't get the lesson, we keep getting them coming back. Yes, they can be in different forms, but always they will get worse and worse. This is the one thing I can guarantee you, right? If you do not learn your lesson, it is going to become worse the next time around. Okay? All right. Thank you so much, Andreas, my friend. Oh my goodness, Andreas, I wouldn't know what to do without you. You are such a pillar of support for the community. You are such an inspiration. Okay, now finally, one more gift which I want to go and give all of you. And it is this, okay? We have to go and stop treating time and money like our enemies. All right, so now here is a role play, okay? Andrea, come and go and do this little role play with me, okay? So now, typically, okay, when we speak to an Asian, okay, especially a Chinese, and if we go and say to this Chinese person, hey, you know, Andrea, you are so rich. Wow, you have so much money. What would a typical Chinese person say, Andrea?
Good for you? I don't know.
No, if I go and say, hey, you're so rich. Wow, you have so much money. What would they say? How would they respond?
I don't have so much money.
Yes, you're absolutely right. You will go and say something like, no lah, where got money? I don't have money. No, I'm not rich. That is what the typical Asian will respond. Right. But if you think about it, okay, let's say, okay, I'm talking to Xin Feng over here, and I go and tell Xin Feng, hey, Xin Feng, your wife is very wise and she's very pretty. Now, Xin Feng is probably not going to go and say, no lah, where God, my wife is not pretty lah, she's not wise lah. He's probably not going to say that. Why? Because if he says that, probably he's not going to have a wife for very long. All right? We are afraid of the lashbacks of our spouses when we do not accept that they are that they have certain good qualities. So now, if people don't hang around us, if we don't appreciate them, then let me ask you guys this question. Why would money want to hang around you if you're always telling people that you don't have money? Sorry about that, simple, just a little joke over there, yeah. So now, this is really, really profound, guys, and you guys have to understand this. If you keep on telling people that you don't have money, you don't have time, why would money and time want to hang around you? You treat them as an enemy, they are going to treat you as an enemy as well. So everyone, get into this habit. Start telling yourself, starting from today, okay? I love money, and money loves me. So now, what is a great way to go and respond to someone who says that, hey, you're very rich, you have a lot of money? Here's a great way to respond. Okay. All right. So now over here, you can go and say, thank you. All right. I see that you're working very hard too. I'm sure that we'll both achieve our dreams very soon. Okay, I'm sure we'll achieve great riches together very soon. So now, over here, when you go and say this to the person who is praising you, they are not going to be offended. They are not going to think that you're arrogant. Why? Because everyone loves it when you say that they are going to be rich. So just go and say, thank you for saying that I'm rich. Okay, you're working really hard too. I'm sure that you'll make it big very soon as well. Okay, so now, Andrea, I think that time is up already. Is that correct?
Yes, actually, we have around 4 minutes. Would you like to connect with the people in the room so that I stop the live stream?
Oh, all right. Or I could just go and run through a few things there, okay? To talk about
That's
physical.
okay too. That's okay too, as you wish. So we have around 6 minutes left.
Okay. All right. So now Andrea says that this, according to your LinkedIn live feed, all right, which you did a few days ago, I believe. Okay. This will be a response from the traditional female beliefs model. Okay. I need to go and check out your live video. I wanted to go and join, but I couldn't. All right. So now let's talk about physical boundaries. When you're working from home, yes, you have to move out from the bedroom or the kitchen. Because look at this. If you were to ask someone to go and work here, hey, focus on working over here. You are not in the mood to work. You are going to go to sleep. Or if you're working in the kitchen, right, you're probably going to be hungry and you're going to be eating all the time. So yeah, seriously, guys, okay, get out from the bedroom or the kitchen. Find a dedicated place to go and work. It will really help your stress levels a lot. And secondly, all right, get the immersive experience. If you can, use headphones because it makes a huge difference to your stress levels, yeah. All right, now next, okay, so now over here, this is something very interesting, and I think that we can go and end the session over here after talking about this. So now, since we have members of the audience who are really experts, let me ask you guys, okay, what is the best way to get over a breakup? What's the best way to get over a breakup, guys? You guys know? What do you guys think? What's the best way to go and get over a heartbreak, over a breakup? Now, let's have some responses from the audience, and I think that this would be a great place to go and end it after we do this. Holiday, very good. What else? Okay, go and distract yourself. Go shopping. Yeah. What else? What's the best way to get over a breakup? Very good. Thank you so much, Sabrina. Wow, you really know how to distract yourself over here. Okay, how else? Maybe one more response. Yes. Okay, very good. Okay, get a new mission in life. Okay. All right, so now over here, okay, let me go and tell you, all right, scientists have discovered through their extensive research the best way to get over a breakup or to break any bad habit, yeah, not just breakups, okay, or to get over a bad habit. For example, right, smoking or gambling. And I'm sure, okay, that Andreas will be the best person. Dangerous question. Andreas will be the best person to go and help you get through these difficult times. Okay. But if you're struggling on it alone, scientists say that the best way for you to go and get over a breakup is, drum roll over here, very profound answer coming. All right. Stop thinking about her. Oh my goodness, this is at the same time, okay, this is simultaneously the most useful and most useless advice ever. Because if you can stop thinking about a person, right, you wouldn't be asking this question in the first place, right? It's not easy to go and stop thinking about a person. But, okay, fortunately, scientists have also discovered one very good way to go and reduce thinking about other people, about a loved one, all right? And that is to something called designate grieving time, yeah. Now, what does designate grieving time? It means, okay, you set aside time. Let's say I will only think about her from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. So what happens is, right, okay, your brain, when you practice this more and more, eventually when your brain starts thinking about this person at 11 o'clock in the morning, for example, right, your brain will automatically say, hey, I don't think that this is the correct time to go and think about her. I can think about her as much as I like from 5 to 6 o'clock, right? So over time, when you practice this, your brain gets better and better, and it will start to go and put all the grading time to 5 to 6 o'clock, and eventually you will stop thinking about that person. Yeah, Sinfong, you're absolutely right. It's not so easy. But all of these things, when it comes to emotions are never easy. Yeah? So, yep, people like Andrea as well as Andreas are very, very important in our life because they help us navigate our emotions. Not so easy, but we have to practice it. Yeah. So now coming back here, it's the same. Okay. If you do not designate me time, if you do not set aside some time every day to heal yourself and to get prepared for the next day, to really rest and to go and soothe yourself, you're going to have a hard time. Really, okay? Research shows that people are more focused when they know they have ample playtime later. So if you're having a very, very stressful time while you're working from home, right? It is probably because you do not have an assurance that you have time to unwind later. But if no matter what, you go and give yourself unconditional time to love yourself, to take care of yourself, all right, then you will find that you're much less stressed while you're working. And so I think that this is a lovely time for us to go and end this session over here. So now what does KK say? KK says smart, schedule a time instead of trying to push against the mind, which carries the person there in our memories. Yes, correct. Right? Tell yourself, if you find yourself thinking about that person, or if you find yourself very stressed, you can just go ahead and go and tell yourself, don't worry, I have time to relax later. I need to focus right now. I need to go and focus on work right now. Okay, so now Andrea, is time up?
Yes, it is. I have to go to the panel discussion and let them into the studio. So yes, it is time to wrap up. If you would like to just say a few words where people can find you so that the people can see it on YouTube. And then after that, I will close the live.
Okay, awesome. So thank you everyone for being such an indulging audience. Yeah, I had a lot of pleasure answering the questions, and I must say that we got a lot of good questions today. My favorite one was definitely the narcissism versus self-love one. Yeah, I think that's a very important topic and important important thing we have to go and distinguish. Yeah. All right. So everyone, focus on mental discipline, start producing some oxytocin, hug a loved one, right? Designate me time so that you're not so stressed while working from home. Yeah, okay, guys? All right, so passing it back to Andrea.
Any place where people can reach you? Just
you can. Yeah, you can definitely find me on LinkedIn. If you look for Teacher Ken on LinkedIn, you will be able to go and find my page, right? And all of the things I teach there as well.
Thank you very much. So we will wrap up. I will just stop the live stream right now. Thank you for